In this video, I'm going to replace the outer tie rod end on this Pontiac Grand Prix. We're going to start by removing the wheel. Okay, so this is what we're looking to replace. We have an 18mm nut on the bottom. Just got to break it loose. That sort of broke the joint free from the knuckle, which is good, but the bad part is that now the joint is spinning, so now we need to hold it with our ratchet here, and hopefully it's not too difficult to remove. This is a 5/16, by the way, I'm holding this with. Oh man, that is on there tight. I put this pry bar here so the ratchet has something to lean against, so it's easier to hold it. Now I'm just going to push the pry bar. It's going to be here a while. There we go. Took a lot of effort. Next we need to remove this lock nut right here. But this is what controls the part of the alignment for your steering. So a good rule of thumb to get it close, because when you remove this you're gonna mess up the alignment. A good rule of thumb to get it close is to count the number of threads before the nut, and then make it that much when you put it back on. So I like to count the valleys in the threads. So we have one. Okay, so it looks like there are 20 threads. So we have to keep that in mind. So I'm going to get a 22mm. We're going to loosen this lock nut. That should be enough to get the tie rod off. Now you can just unthread the tie rod, the outer tie rod. And there you go. So as you see, this is like really wobbly. So let's get the new one. Alright, so here's our new one. It's a little different style. It has the castellated nut with the cotter pin, and this one actually has a Zerk fitting for to grease the joint. So we're going to thread this guy back on. I'm going to wait to tighten this until this front part is tightened. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you get the new part, make sure it's the same length as the old one. If it's not the same length, then what you should do is take a measurement all the way back to the front to see how long the entire arm is, and then make the arm that length by adjusting this in and out. So now we're gonna count how many threads are here and make sure and make it close. Again, it shouldn't change that much. It's just something you always want to do. Okay, that's about 20 threads. There we go. We're going to tighten this lock nut back here. So on the bottom of the joint, there's this hole that goes through, and you have the castellated nut. what you're going to do is you're just going to thread this nut on. And just tighten it enough to where you can thread or you can put the cotter pin through. Alright, now you never want to loosen this. And the reason why is because when you're tightening it, you're making a mechanical, what's called a mechanical weld between this joint and the knuckle. This threaded rod is tapered. And as you tighten it, it pushes it into this knuckle. So if you loosen this, then the mechanical weld has a ability to pop out of it because this isn't holding it in place. So never loosen this. If you have to loosen it all the way, pop the joint out and put it back in. So start over. Anyway, I tightened it enough to where it's tight and I can put the cotter pin through. Now we're just going to bend the cotter pin arms around so it can't come loose. Just like that. Okay, next we have this Zerk fitting that we're going to put into the joint so we can grease it. Alright, so now we have a grease gun. We're going to take a grease gun. You can get these at any auto parts store. We're going to attach it to the Zerk fitting, and we're just going to pump until the boot just starts to puff out. There, it should snap on. Now we're just going to pump until the joint is filled. There. Now all we have to do is put the wheel back on. And that's it. Thanks for watching.